I'd like to. Does anyone have a question? Hmm. Oh, you don't have a question?
I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
I was listening to a recording of a talk you gave over 10 years ago, and you very briefly mentioned seven different levels in our practice, starting with, it sounded like level one was actually awakening the Kundalini for the first time through the seventh chakra. And you had mentioned that you believed that Rudy had achieved the seventh level, which sounded like the highest level. Can you share anything more about this?
Yeah. I mean, look, first of all, it's not something you can diagram or even intellectually understand. It's part of the living experience of the development of a spiritual life. And there are 7 cycles of energy. The first cycle is just karma, learning how to live in the world, as a human being, learning to be happy. The things I talk a lot about this. And it's the first cycle of energy. All of the tension, all of the insecurity, all of the problems that we have, are drawn into the chakra below the navel, transformed into chi, then, it flows through the sexual area and then activates Kundalini. This transforms the human to a higher level. It enables us to finally master our tensions inside. Then energy returns. It's like the Ganges flowing from top of the Himal. The energy returns and it nurtures the chakra system on a whole new level where there's the beginnings of Ananda. There's complete and total foundation, or not total, but higher level of foundation inside us. We're able to experience the male female energy unifying, giving birth to Kundalini. And the energy cycles literally 7 times. And in that cycling of energy, what happens is the entire level of one's humanity is transformed into a spiritual life. Now, this doesn't happen like immediately. Over time, it evolves, it grows in somebody. And then over time, it becomes a reality. And the ultimate reality is the moment we leave the world. Do we leave the world, in a state of complete and total surrender, embracing God, embracing, higher energy, embracing the cosmos, embracing whatever the universe is going to send the soul that it has to do on its next, kind of incarnation. All of this is part of the development of a human being. And, you can hang out on the level of karma for 1,000 lifetimes, butting your head against the wall, trying to make tons of money and this and that and the other, thinking that's the solution to life. You can spend 1,000 lifetimes going through incredibly intense suffering that people go through because that is their level of consciousness. Or that level gets transformed through deep inner work, you transform it. And there's the next level and the next one until we finally get free of what we're here to learn on the earth. You know, it's like 7 departments at a university, this whole thing. And we as people are born here to learn how to get free of what we come to. We come here for a purpose. We don't come here, you know, for political power. I mean, all this stuff going on with congresses and conventions and people and all the insanity going on. I mean, we don't come here for that. We come here to learn how to get free of our karma. We come here to learn how to truly allow the soul to become one with God. We come here to learn how to be nothing. And all of the other stuff is just part of what teaches us how to be nothing, to discover that the only place money ever goes is the grave. The only place power ever goes is the grave. And all of this stuff amounts to literally nothing. You know, it's like that poem by Shelley, Here Lies Ozymandias, standing at the grave of Ozymandias. Here lies Ozymandias, king of kings, you know? That's what happens. It doesn't mean we don't enjoy life and the wonderful things money can buy and the, you know, you know, all the fruits and delicious elements of life that we experience. But we also recognize that it's all an illusion. It doesn't take you anywhere. I mean, when I was living, you know, a very poor kid living in New York, paying, you know, $30 a month rent and, you know, living in tenement apartments and that kind of stuff. And, you know, I mean, I learned how to make money. And one thing I discovered in business, the more money I made, the more money I tried to make. I really mean it. And ultimately the goal became just making money. And it took me many years of being in business to recognize this and to say, no, the money has a purpose. And for me, the purpose was that I was able to support ashrams and, you know, have places where people could grow spiritually. The money had that purpose. It no longer became just making money, more money and more money and more money. I mean, I started out selling rusty old wagon wheels for $10. You know, is how I started my business. I'll never forget. I went to Texas. I had $30 to my name. And I knew that I had 20 people living in a house in an ashram, and I knew they had to be fed and this and that, money, you know. And I said, well, you know, let's start a business, you know, collecting old furniture and refinishing it and selling it. And I remember going around in a truck, and I met this old farmer who had 7 barn loads of furniture. He said, I got to get rid of this stuff. I said, well, how much do you want? He said, $30. I couldn't believe my ears. That was all the money I had in the world. That's how the business started. You know, years later, I'm selling, you know, great art to the Met, to the this, to that, major collectors. But all along, I realized money in the lives of most people has a singular purpose, and that's making more money, winning by making more money. And I said, no, the money has to have a spiritual purpose. It's just energy. And it became what I used to build ashrams, places where people could do deep spiritual practice. And what I learned is that when you do deep spiritual work, God takes care of you. things you need to live your life. They're always given to you, you know, without having to, embrace them with greed, and but that is part of the first cycle of energy, learning how to transform all of the tension, all of the anxiety, the grief, the insecurity, the problems we have into an open heart, into love, into an ability to live in this world peacefully with deep inner peace. That allows the second cycle, which brings knowledge and wisdom and joy and, unconditional, like the third cycle, until there's nothing except one's connection with God. And I know a lot of these things are big problems, and people are very, the wonderful thing about money is it tells you exactly where somebody is. It really does. How tense they are, how caught up in insecurity they have, how, you know, and that's what we have to get over. Because it's just energy, it flows, it comes if you get over yourself. And you got to work. And it's such a major step in getting free of karma and just learning to live here as a happy person, full of love, full of joy, compassion, willing to serve a higher energy in the universe, not full of greed. And, it's all about me, 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 me. It's about this energy guiding your life. You can't have that energy guide your life if you're full of yourself. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
I normally don't make comments. If I could, I loved hearing about the wagon wheel, and it instantly made me think of the Buddhist symbol for the karmic wheel. Looks just like a wagon wheel. And I love that you took wagon wheels and started all this.
So I started my business selling wagon wheels.
It's a
I
beautiful.
would go around to flea markets and find all this, stuff. And I couldn't afford anything else, and it grew. So it started.
Well, thank you.
You know, later on in life, I'm selling, 14th century Tibetan mandalas. It's like a wagon wheel of mandala. Circles with this. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, well, there'll be class on Sunday. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you for being in my life, being here. Seems like the classes are getting smaller and smaller. Well, the energy is getting stronger and stronger. Maybe it's getting too much for people. I don't know. And I really don't care. Whoever comes, that's who gets. It's been a kind of an aphorism I've lived by most of my life. So thank you, and God bless you all. And there'll be meditation on Sunday. next week, Mercury, this has been some Mercury in retrograde. It's been really unbelievable, impossible this last 3 weeks. So, it's getting over with next week. So hopefully there'll be a release and a whole new flow of energy will come. Looking forward to it. So God bless you. Thank you. And I'll see everybody on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.